And what was interesting is that the president issued a veto threat on this bill yesterday. And it's important that you read the veto threat to understand just how misguided President Biden's approach to energy is. And in the veto threat, he actually said that his policies of raiding SPRO have led to lower gas prices. Now, I don't know if the calculator is broken at the White House, but since Joe Biden's been in office, we've seen a 40% increase in gas prices. That's not lowering, it's actually increasing so dramatically that it's hurting hardworking families. It's one of the reasons that you pay more for everything when you go to the grocery store, when you go to the shopping mall. Anything you buy now costs more money because of Joe Biden's policies, and he's trying to claim that that's actually lowered costs when in fact it's increased costs. And families know that. They know if you have bad energy policy, it makes our country less safe. It's not like we're using less energy. We're actually using more energy. It's just now we become more reliant on foreign countries. There's no reason for that. We have the most abundant supply of energy here in America. And by the way, if you're concerned about carbon emissions, and from the sound of all those private jets going to Davos last week, seems like those faux conservationists seem to like talking in foreign countries about it, but they don't practice it here in America.
This week, House Republicans are working to end Joe Biden's assault on American energy independence and restore our depleted Strategic Petroleum Reserves. For far too long, Joe Biden has risked America's national security and drained our Strategic Petroleum Reserves to cover up for his anti-American energy agenda. The SPR is for emergencies, not Joe Biden's political points. Our Strategic Petroleum Reserves oil is only supposed to be used for national security events, but Joe Biden has sold nearly 40% of our stockpile since being elected. In fact, Joe Biden has sold off more of our oil reserves than every U.S. president in history combined. Today, our crucial emergency oil reserves are at the lowest level in my lifetime. As a result, China now has the world's largest government-controlled stockpile of oil, and Joe Biden and his administration have no plan to reverse course. Under an open rule, this week, House Republicans will continue to implement our commitment to America. This week, we will pass a bill to prevent abuse of the SPR and require Joe Biden to put forth a plan to increase domestic production. It is long past time to unleash American energy and restore our standing on the world stage. House Republicans will hold the Biden administration accountable for tying the hands of America's oil and gas producers in the midst of an energy crisis. We will deliver on our promise to defend our energy security, to support an economy that's strong.
Nobody makes energy in the world cleaner than the United States of America. So stop flying Air Force One to Saudi Arabia and other countries begging Russia to produce energy when we can make it here cleaner, better, lowering the cost, and creating really good jobs in America. But in the meantime, we've got a Strategic Petroleum Reserve for a reason. It's there for emergencies. It's not there to mask the president's bad energy policies. It's there in times of need, and this president's raided more than 40% of that reserve. This bill just says if you're going to raid the reserve, show a plan on how you're going to replenish it. And why the White House would issue a veto threat on that boggles, I think, the mind of most common sense people. But unfortunately, that's what we've seen commonplace from this administration. Obviously, there are a lot of other issues like the debt ceiling that the whip talked about that we are deeply interested in solving. Is that, number one, we wanted to jettison the approach that Speaker Pelosi took, where she shut down the ability for even committee chairs to be involved in addressing problems. Bills were written out of her office. She wouldn't even let chairmen amend major pieces of legislation in committees, not allowing rank and file members the ability to have an input in how the process works. And so this week, you're going to see another example of us opening things up, an open rule, something we haven't seen in 7 years here in Congress on the Strategic Petroleum Reserve bill that says if the president's going to raid SPRO, not during emergencies, but just in normal times, he at least has to show a plan for how he would replenish it. If you're going to take something away, you should show people how you're going to refill it.